We're going to start digging into the menus on the 50D, and the first one we're going to look at is the Shooting Menu 1. Now to get there, of course, you press your top left menu button, turns on your menus, and then you navigate around by using your big rotating control dial on the back and your multi-position controller. So they'll both sort of work, and remember that you can actually push in the multi-position controller as well as move it around left and right, and that action would be pressing the set button on the big rotating controller. So you have sort of redundant controls. I mean, you can even use the front master control dial on the front, it'll move it around as well. So they've made it very easy for you. So let's take a look directly from the inside of the camera. And the first menu that we're going to look at is that top left red shooting menu. Let's go up to the top and hit our set button or press the multi-position in to get to what type of image and what quality of image do you want to shoot. Now the way that this is looked at and done is, if you look at the top right of the screen, we're going to see the size of the image, like 15 megapixels, that it's large and that it has that fine sloping, it doesn't have jaggies on it, that means it's the finest quality, and the pixel size of the image as well as how many images you can take on your card. So now as we go ahead and select the top or the bottom, you use your front command dial to move the raw selection right now, and it allows you to take these different, see what I'm doing, I'm moving the front dial over here, and to move the JPEG you're going to use the big rotating dial on the bottom of the back of the left over here. What we're doing is selecting what type of image in combination. So you see the first little marks on the left, that would be not taking an image, a raw image or a JPEG image. But if I rotate the front command dial, I can now select that I'd like to take a standard raw image when I push the shutter button. And if I rotate the bottom, I can addend as well a JPEG image that it will shoot at the same time in any of the different quality levels. So that's large with a nice low compression setting, or large with a higher compression setting, allowing you to take more images but with a slightly lower quality. The medium settings, basically this reduces the megapixels of the camera, making a smaller image. Now if I'm going to do eBay, I'm going to be putting it on the bottom right over here, or shooting 1,500 kids at an elementary school for a yearbook. I'm going to the small size, so I need the disk space. But if I'm shooting average stuff, I might go in the medium area over here. But if I'm shooting, something that I may want to blow up to a billboard or a really nice, giant photo, well, I'm going to go with a large. And remember, use a giant CF card and you'll be able to take more pictures. Now, if you're just shooting for everyday use, large with this compression ratio is where I end up staying a lot of the time. If you want to really experiment with processing photos after the fact, go into the raw area over here where the camera takes all the information from the image but does not process it into a JPEG. So you use the software after the fact, Canon or third-party software, to develop, I could call it, this is almost like a digital negative. All the information is there and you can change the white balance and everything about it. Now, Canon has offered two more selections on this 50D which are very interesting, SRAW 1 and SRAW 2. What these are is basically just like the JPEG on bottom, reducing the megapixels of the camera to take a smaller image. And you'll see up on the top of the screen, that's RAW 1 at 15 megapixels. This is SRAW 1, no, just plain RAW. This is SRAW 1 at 7.1 megapixels, and then down to all the way 3.8 megapixels with the SRAW 2 setting. So you have a choice of pixel sizes while you're shooting in RAW. That's a first for this Canon DSLR. Normal shooting, again, you go ahead and rotate the rear dial and come into the bottom area here. Now I suggest using this setting for almost all shooting because CF cards have come down in price quite a bit. Get yourself a large and fast one for the camera, the best quality you can afford. And when you go out, you're going to take the best picture you ever took one day, and you're not going to know it's the best picture you ever took. You might have an idea, but you look at it later and go, my gosh, this is fantastic. I want to blow this up to 20 feet. Well, if you shot it in small, you'll be a little angry with yourself because you paid for a 15 megapixel camera. For a little extra money, get a huge CF card, put it in there, and you can take this grade of picture for everything, almost everything. Now, also something else to know is, in RAW, you are getting the ability to go ahead and process that picture afterwards, but you are not gaining any resolution per se. It really does not give you a higher resolution picture. Look at the pixels on top. They're exactly the same for the large JPEG image as they are for the RAW image. but you're just giving yourself a digital negative to work with later if you really want to change it around. So it's very good for your craft to learn how to use the RAW, but in everyday shooting, you're probably going to use JPEG in the large and best compression ratio, the low compression ratio. And again, at any combination of these, it's going to show you how many pictures you can take on that card. Look at this. With the highest settings, 2 images at once, I only can take 6 pictures on this card. Okay, it's only a half gigabyte card, but still. Go to this, all of a sudden I can take 37. Go down to the small, I'm at 245. So you're going to be trading off CF card space for the size of the image. Now I'm going to press the menu button again to go back to menu. Red eye on and off, that's whether the flash is I'm going to hit the set button and rotate the big command dial on the back and put it to on or off. Hit your set button again and it selects it. And that gives that burst of light out of the flash to close the irises of people's eyes so they don't have that red effect. The beep, do you want the camera to beep? Sometimes if you're shooting at a funeral, you don't want it to beep when it's focusing. So you can always hit the set button, turn that to off, hit the set button again, default is on. Shoot without the card. You want to be able to take a picture without the CF card in it? If you're practicing and just playing with a camera, maybe you do. But having it on, well, if you get into a situation all of a sudden you're taking some pictures and you don't realize you don't have a CF card in that, I'd leave that default off for me. I don't want to take any pictures without a card in there. Review time, that's how long is the image going to be in the back of the screen after you take the picture. Now 2 seconds just allows you enough time to look and see, I got it. 8 seconds allows you enough time to go, hey everybody, look at this. Or hold, that's even better, until you press the shutter button again and turn it off. That's really if you want to show it around the whole gang. 8 seconds give you enough time to look around the whole image and see if you got good focus and that kind of thing. I would compromise with 4 seconds. The last is peripheral illumination correction, an incredible new feature on the 50D. Let's hit the set button. And this camera already has a database in it for 20 different lenses. And the lens I put on this morning, 28-135 IS stabilized lens by Canon, it has the correction data available. And what this does is, on occasion, under certain shooting situations, especially when very wide, you can have a slight darkening of the picture around the edges of the picture. Just slightly less light getting in there. This will actually correct for that. And there's no reason not to leave this on. So it's just going to make for more even illumination across the picture. It doesn't have any deleterious effects. Might take a very slight bit longer for the camera's Digic 4 processor to pull it off, but a good reason to have it on all the time. I'd say no reason not to. Remember that right above that enable says correction data available. Be sure that it has the data available for the lens you have, otherwise you won't be able to use this feature. And with Canon's external software, you can actually create these files and put them in the camera for different lenses. So there we go, all the stuff on the first shooting menu.